Hello, future teachers. For today's strategy, we're going to be learning about the T-chart graphic organizer by Diana and Jasmin Hernandez.
And what is a T-chart graphic organizer strategy? Definition: a T-chart is a type of graphic organizer mainly used for comparison by separating information into two or more columns, forming a layout in a shape of an English letter T. A chart demonstrates a clear division of items or topics with headings on the top and columns below them. It's an easy-to-use organizing diagram. A shortened definition: a T-chart is a graphic organizer in which it is used to examine a topic. It can be used to determine pros and cons, facts versus opinions, advantages and disadvantages, looks like versus sounds like, cause and effects, and etc. Example will be drinking water. Now, some advantages of drinking water will be clear skin, aid weight loss, boost brain function. Some disadvantages of drinking too much water would be that it causes fluid overload, it can lead to vomiting and fatigue, and it can lead into intoxication if the water has been consumed with an excess amount. And how is a T-chart made? A T-chart is made using the English T with two columns. One proceeds to pick one or two topics and their headings to compare and contrast. And then you could also use pros and cons, advantages and differences, facts versus opinions, etc. Like we had talked in the previous slide. This is an example on how you can make your own T-chart. You could use a PowerPoint and you can use the line pointer, and then you could create your T and add the comment box and just have it as your header.
T-chart graphic organizer. Now let's look into the strengths and weaknesses of this strategy. A T-chart, well, let's look and learn how this graphic organizer can help you. Mostly, it is used to compare a topic by providing two different options. You can showcase a before and after or cause and effect scenario. It can help you in drawing contrast and comparisons easily. You can also use it to organize your data into two or more groups.
Now, the weaknesses that a T-chart can have are minimal. There could be restrictions due to only two topics being compared. Also, a lot of information cannot be devised using a T-chart because it is predominantly used as bulletin points with one or two words or small sentences. It is difficult to use a T-chart for hypothetical situations due to suggested ideas or theories or mathematical formulas because the formulas lead to an answer and one cannot compare. With mathematical formulas, you always have an answer and you could always retrace your steps back, and as long as it leads to the mathematical problem, then that would be your answer, so there's no comparison.
What are the two columns used for? The columns are used for to compare and contrast two or more items, separate information into groups, show change, always have your chart readable and neat. All the information in your chart is in the columns. Depending on what type of information you're recording or displaying, there may be more information in a certain column than others. So some columns may have only words or only pictures in them.
How a T-chart is used with lower grade level, early childhood to second grade. Students will have a blank T-chart to familiarize themselves on how it works and how it is used. It is used throughout all subjects, and the T-chart will contain a simple topic. For example, the topic will be getting a cat or any other animal, and then adding the pros and cons with the whole class on the whiteboard. Another example that is used in lower grade levels is adding images, demonstrating how to use a T-chart through compare and contrast, cause and effect, same and differences, advantage and disadvantage, etc. So if you look to your right, there are some examples. One of them is getting a cat. Pros: they're fun, they have companionship, and they love to snuggle. Cons is you have to clean the litter box, the food cost, and the vet trips. And now another comparison whenever you have two topics is comparing if they're what's the same about a car and a wagon. So both are used for transportation. And what's the difference in the contrast is that the car is run by an engine and the wagon is pulled by a horse or a donkey or an ox.
How a T-chart is used with upper grade level 3rd through 6th. T-charts can be useful in upper grade levels in any subject from comparing cause and effect of the Civil War to learning vocabulary terms in English language arts. As you can see here, we have an example of mathematics T-chart comparing fractions by providing the fraction along with an image to help students better understand how a fraction is presented. The example is around 3rd or 4th grade mathematics. Students will enjoy the easy format in which they can list similarities and differences between two different kinds of events or ideas. When to use a T-chart. We use a T-chart to any content area or genre, such as with books or book characters in social studies or when making important class discussions. We use T-charts in school, such as English language arts, social studies, math, or science, learning a foreign language, such as French, Italian, Vietnamese, Spanish, making class decisions, such as deciding where to go for a field trip. As you can see here, for an example, students are learning a foreign language such as French. So the example will help you see how to translate the French language item into English. How do we use T-charts in everyday life? We use T-charts in everyday life, not just in schools, but also in businesses, in commercial breaks, or in stores comparing prices on their merchandise, newspaper articles or magazines, nutrition facts such as comparing foods. All in all, it makes life a whole lot easier.